is dedicated to the youth of 1976 who stood up against the apartheid government. 44 years later, after the Soweto uprising, young people in this country, in South Africa, facing a myriad of challenges. Among them is unemployment. 1 in 2 young South Africans before COVID-19 already believed to be without a job, and now the future that many young people face is even bleaker. So let's check in tonight with the Youth Employment Fund, or YES. The business-led initiative was launched at the end of 2018. You may recall, since then, hundreds of companies have partnered with YES to create work experiences for unemployed young Black people between the ages of 18 and 35. To discuss, we're joined on the line by the CEO of YES, Dr. Tashmia Ismail-Saville. Dr. Ismail-Saville, thank you very much. There was already a jobs crisis, so let's start off with the bad news. I mean, personally, are you worried about what's coming now?
We are very concerned. If we look at the profile of young people who are unemployed out there, we often see that grad employment rises with economic growth, but we have this neat number, youth who are not in employment, education, or training, many of whom don't even have a matric certificate. And jobs in the tourism and hospitality sector were a great place for these young people to get entry into the labor market and their first jobs. And we know that those sectors have been decimated. So there is a concern around youth with lower skills levels and where they're going to find a place in the economy. The unemployment rate was already pretty terrifying pre-COVID. And you can imagine what it's going to look like with that sector closing down essentially. However,
what happens with those young people who, through YES, had a work opportunity in tourism or hospitality, had just started work? Does that just collapse that effort then?
I'm very grateful to say that most of the companies that had invested, when they invest in YES, they generally budget for the full 12-month work experience. So from the 36,800 jobs that YES has created, only 266 youth have been impacted directly. There are a few cases filtering in where companies are saying, look, they may have to take advantage of the TERS and the UIF, but largely our base has been unaffected. And we've got new companies registering. So as soon as level 3 lockdown was announced, our phones were ringing off the hook. This is a really good sign that companies are still interested in youth employment, still very much seeing BE as an important transformation vehicle, and YES as a transformation vehicle. So 55 companies in 5 weeks have registered for YES.
Wow, I want to say, I mean, job creation is more crucial than ever, but the companies themselves must be under incredible pressure. So you're saying you're actually seeing a pickup in people who want to get involved. Is it fair enough to say that?
Yes, I mean, 55 companies in 5 weeks is a big number. We're seeing this in the financial services, engineering, and tech space. A lot of the companies are coming from there. And engineering and tech are some of the areas that actually benefited off the lockdown. We see a lot of movement of businesses towards tech platforms in order to survive. So there may be a shift in the sectors where youth will be employed and maybe the skill sets that youth need to have. But absolutely, if we look at YES registrations as an indicator of business activity, the hope is that there will be a faster recovery as soon as government allows us to open things up. The businesses are not huge businesses. Those guys take a little bit more time to come on board, but it's very encouraging that small and medium businesses really are starting to hire people back again.
Yeah, that is wonderful news. Can you translate that into job opportunities created and maybe remind us just how many of those job opportunities or jobs for young people that exist precisely because of YES?
So YES has done 36,800 jobs in 16 months. This is, if you look at the economy on a net basis, we've gone backwards, we've lost jobs. So to create those has been, I think, quite a miracle number. If we look at that, Francis, in terms of salaries that go back into communities, it's over 1.4 billion in youth salaries through the private sector that have gone into youth wallets. And we know that there's an amazing multiplier effect when youth get salaries in their households. All yes youth get a smartphone when they're placed, and the smartphone has 0 rated apps, which means they don't pay for data on the phones. And we train and monitor and evaluate our youth wherever they are in the country, and they really are nationally spread across the country. So we did a COVID survey with these youth, and 70% of our youth have said to us that their yes salary was used to support additional household members during lockdown. So this private sector money really is going to that segment of our population that are in most need of being able to earn an income during these months, and that money really is going to support households. I think it's a big number, and we call on companies that sometimes growth is a mindset, and if Business South Africa just decides to just keep going and tuck the ball and put their heads down, I think that we could see a stronger recovery. But it really is going to take a business coalition to address youth unemployment. It certainly isn't something that government can do on their own. We need all stakeholders involved to move this.
So quickly, we're running out of time, but just remind us what benefits there are for business, because there is a carrot in terms of BEE, and it's not that you always have to have the job. You can just help create that job somewhere else, can't you?
Yeah. So absolutely, Francis, there's an amazing incentive for business to get involved in this. If you invest in these youth jobs, you can move an entire level up on your BEE scorecard. There's a hot off the press announcement today that MTN got to level 1 on their scorecard by participating in YES with over 700 jobs given to young people. So we've had over 150 companies benefit from this level up on the BEE scorecard. So we're not asking you to invest in youth employment and not get anything in return. There's a massive benefit here. And it's a win for the company and it's a win for the country. We've also had MultiChoice participate with over 400 jobs. So we really have big companies benefiting on their scorecard and creating this incredible impact on the ground.
All right. Thank you so much for that very heartening update. That was the CEO of YES, Dr. Tashmia Ismail-Saville.